Loch Kelly is the author of the award-winning book, The Way of Effortless Mindfulness. He is a licensed psychotherapist and recognized leader in the fields of meditation, psychology, and embodied awakening. I like the sound of that. He is the founder of the nonprofit Effortless Mindfulness Institute and has worked in community mental health, established homeless shelters, and counseled family members of 9/11. Loch graduated from Columbia University and received a fellowship to study in Sri Lanka, India, and Nepal. Loch has collaborated with neuroscientists at Yale, UPenn, and NYU in the study of how awareness training can enhance compassion and well-being. Loch is known for helping people live from an open-hearted, embodied awakening. His mobile non-dual meditation program is now available at lochkelly.org/EM. And all of that and the links to that, when you register and then you go to the speaker page and about the speaker, links to follow Loch, I think, on YouTube, and to access this meditation program, they're all right on that speaker page. Loch is one of our speakers at the upcoming End of Seeking conference. The title, and I'm getting emotional, open-hearted, feeling the energy stirring. The title of his talk, Infinite and Intimate, Living Awake in the World. And I could read this whole thing, but instead, because it's lighting up for me, what we're talking about here is a simple map in a direct way to move from the head to the heart mind so we can live awake in the world. Yeah, all of that just lights up, like your bio lights something up in me, this idea of a simple way, a simple map lights something up within me. And I'm going to take a breath now and just say thank you so much for being here, Loch. Really, really grateful. And I'm just curious if there's, listening to your bio and all of this, what is it you want to share with us right now?
Sure. Well, thank you, Cindy, and thank you, Pure Presence. I hope you'll all come along to enjoy a little more in-depth dive and exploration this coming weekend. So, yes, you know, like many people, once I ask, most have had a glimpse of some doorway or access to something greater than themselves, some opening that happened that often we will immediately bypass and say, oh, that was just related to the place or the time or the person or the activity. But the premise here in this kind of unique non-dual approach, or what I'm calling effortless mindfulness, it's not that you don't make an initial effort to kind of let go or drop or open or shift out of the current constellation of consciousness, but that when you do, it's not just a gap of not knowing or no self or just nothing, but that there's actually an already effortless awareness that is connected to something greater than yourself, that's supportive, that is available, that is greater than you, and yet paradoxically, essentially who we are. And that this move, this kind of simple map, that's available and that you can shift out of this, and that what shifts out of this isn't the seeker or the doer, but it's kind of a subtle dimension of consciousness that once you taste it and feel it, you can intentionally let go of the seeker and yet move from this, what I call local awareness, which can drop from its identification with thought and the thinker that's maybe listening right now, located behind your head, this point of view, and let that awareness decenter, drop into your body, and deeper, subtler into not just your emotional heart, but feel like you surrender or let go into this already awake, open heart that's equally within and like a boundless heart connected to something greater that's always already been here, that then you can be aware as this and from this, which includes the imperfect human animal and mind and emotions, that has the capacity now both to love and heal your own beingness, not trying to be perfect, but being loving toward what is. And then you can begin to respond rather than react in a way that's almost like a flow consciousness, you naturally respond at the best times of your life. So it's not a detached, passive meditation state where you stop at kind of a couch potato or have to retreat from life, or even remain in kind of a pure awareness that's detached, but that this subtlest awareness is not just the last stop, but it arises as your aliveness and consciousness and humanness, and is interconnected with everyone and everything. So that once you see that this is the map is we're caught in this small sense of self, we can drop or open, and that what drops or open is awareness itself, and that it's palpable and and learnable because it's intelligent already. So it's not reliant on needing a long retreat, but that once you learn it in the midst of your day, you can shift and discover what's already in the background. So it's almost like a background foreground shift, or a drop, or a opening to something higher or wider or deeper or subtler, whatever you want to call that. And many religions and spiritualities have names for that, which you can call it what you like. What I find is that, having studied many of these things, oh, that's the same as this, that's similar to that, this is like that. So whatever you want to call it, it seems to be inherent within all human beings, regardless of belief, training, culture. And we've just had a map that has kept us in this small developmental stage of going from dependency as a child to being an independent thinker, which we need to do in terms of our functioning and living in the world. But that functioning is like developing the vehicle or the ego function. But then what happens is the ego function becomes an ego identity. And so we start to believe, I think, therefore I am. But if we can return thinking to its natural state and allow it to be a tool of being. So accessing this pure awareness, which many of the conference participants and presenters will show, but then I think the unique thing that I immediately point to is that don't stop at this witness protection program of pure awareness that's detached from what's coming and going, but notice whether there is not two, that the pure awareness and the aliveness are not two, the ultimate and relative, the infinite and intimate have shifted to the ground of being, and then everything is welcome and included. And then we lose it, going back to the old habit of trying to protect or become ego-centered or survive or solve a problem. And then we just learn to return. And then we train to remain like a developmental consciousness. So my sense is, having studied psychology and comparative meditation systems, spirituality, religions, is that awakening is the next natural stage of human development. So like a developmental stage, there's some learning and some unlearning and some training, but it begins with this recognition and realization of this new sense of who we are that actually is already installed. So that once you drop and open, it's not just a meditation state of pure awareness or freedom or sense of awakening from, but then there's an actual active multidimensional beingness that is has non-fear, non-worry, and non-shame, so that there's this okayness and lack of worry about what is coming and going that's unpleasant or that's a problem. So this well-being, this essential okayness, we can move and not have it just be a touchstone like a meditation. It actually can be where we're responding from in situations that are uncomfortable or difficult, and not try to make those things go away, just assume those are grist for the human life. So this is a little bit of the overview. And certainly the main thing I'm going to be doing in the workshop that I lead is experientially showing you the power of how. So you've heard of the power of now. So this will be the power of how. How do we do that? And giving what I call these glimpse exercises, which are short, take from 1 second to 3 minutes to shift out of and into, and then return and begin to talk and walk and create and relate, and then lose it. No big surprise, just re-recognizing, returning, and training this next stage of awake living.
So, okay, if I make a couple of comments and ask some questions.
Absolutely.
I literally have this desire, and I have the ability to, all of us can, to go back and listen again, but I ended up taking some notes. I'm feeling very blessed.
Yeah.
One of the things you said real quickly, that so many human beings believe the whole quote, "I think, therefore I am," got reinterpreted in my head as I was sitting with your share, to I am, therefore thinking is one of the things that is available to me.
Yes.
Thinking becomes the tool as opposed to the identification.
Yes.
That
yeah.
fair relative to what you said.
Yeah, we may end up, you may become the new philosopher by putting that backwards, turning it around.
I have one of the mantras that has, one of the things when I write and I sit with spirit or truth, is I'm being told that at this point anyway, thinking's not necessary for where I am on the path. And it's just an interesting awareness.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is that automatic thinking, so, because I'm a psychotherapist, psychologist, that, and have all these interesting learnings from meditation, and that automatic thinking, which is which is happening in all of us, like physical sensations are happening, mental sensations are happening, and they're coming and going. That can all go into the background, and that doesn't need to be monitored, or just because it arises, oh, did you remember to do this and do that and do this. You don't have to get on the train. However, thinking is very useful and very important in its communication and use during the day. So there's different types of thinking. One of them, if we all lump it together, we can either get rid of it or use it too much. So trying to discern a little bit which types of thinking are useful and which are taken to be, oh, well, if I have a thought, I better check it out. And that doesn't need to be so.
I had I don't even remember which teacher. I just adopted this idea of a functional mind and a thinking mind, or an egoic mind, and no desire to let go of the functional mind.
Yeah.
But this storytelling mind isn't. It was even, I had a friend asking me, "What's new? What are you doing?" And my immediate response to her had been nothing, because I had realized that most of my stories and my interest in stories had been gone. But then I said, oh, well, I'm working this retreat and I'm preparing for this, and this is the class I'm taking. And so I recognized that there was a lot of things occurring in my life. I wasn't couch potato, just
right.
There weren't a lot of words or stories or drama. And so it felt like an emptiness, the immediate response.
Yeah.
The notes that I took right away, and it was interesting as I was listening to you. One of our speakers this weekend is Jeffrey Martin. I don't know if you spent time with him.
Well, he's studied with me, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So he was talking about this persistent state of well-being, or persistent fundamental well-being or okayness. And I heard the same thing. Yeah. And so I want to ask, did I hear you say, as we evolve into this next stage of whatever we are as human, because now I have Eckhart Tolle playing in my ears. He's telling me we're all changing. We must. But did you say that fear, worry, shame is not going to be part of that experience in this new consciousness?
No, the thing is that the conditioned animal will play so let's say fear. So if you're standing on a corner, in a city, and a car comes close and beeps the horn, you're going to feel fear, but it won't lead to fearful stories, and it will arise and you'll be able to feel what you feel. Secondary emotions like shame, because they're based on perception, they're based on I am worthless, I am not worthy, I am unlovable. Those get teased apart or unburdened from their sensitivity to feel hurt or feel that historically you weren't treated well, or something that made us interpret that as, oh, must be something wrong with me, I must be not good enough, whatever that version of shame identity that comes from childhood gets kind of detoxed from its story, but not just mental story. It needs to be not just spiritualized away. There needs to be kind of a grieving or a detox or a healing that is cathartic in some ways. And some spiritualities try to just, okay, that's a belief, that's a story, that's and that's not what I've found to be helpful. I've found people who are able to do that have kind of repressed a lot of their emotions and earlier beliefs into kind of an intellectual, spiritual ego that feels like they can make things go away. So that untangling, detoxing, thawing out includes recognizing whatever's arising, needs to be met as what's its root, what spurred it on, if it's arising, where's it coming from?
And I'm listening, I'm thinking about the speakers that are all coming together this weekend, and we have a couple of yoga sessions being planned for the weekend, which is all an opportunity to meet shame, worry, fear, all this stuff that you're talking about, where it's in the body, and have it released through yoga. We have teachers like Louise Kay and Ellen Emmett, who all focus on body awareness, which seems like sits very well with what you're sharing. From my own and everybody else, because I know it's never just me, what I heard you just say, and then I'm going to let you go because
Okay.
or we'll finish up. That functional response to the world will continue. So the fear response to immediate danger in the awakened human will continue. The work and a big part of the work we're doing now, though, is where that has been suppressed, or we've created a self-identity that proves that we're unworthy or we're bad or shameful because of our responses and how we were. All that gets teased out, and through these processes and this effortless mindfulness and wherever we are, those are not needed in the
They get liberated. So the a lot of what I'm having worked individually with people and in groups, noticing what I call the obstacles, like spiritual bypass, where you try to learn to just make things go away or hang out as pure awareness and saying, there's nobody here named Loch, there's just awareness. And I go to the grocery store and things end up in my cart, and there's no doer and there's no seeker and then what I call psychological underpass, which is you only do psychological work and you never recognize there's something greater. That is, you're just trying to work with the psyche and the ego and try to be a kinder, more positive person. And then there's intellectual overpass, where you kind of read a lot of books about spirituality, or you have a certain insight or initial awakening, and then you make it intellectual and you can talk about it, but you don't do the cleanup work, which is the harder work. So once this essential well-being isn't the end, it's actually a capacity to then be with the liberating of what's called storehouse consciousness, karma, or unconscious material. So I'm bringing not only the yoga, but the psychological embodied work, where some teachers will say, you don't need to do that, you just need to be this pure awareness or something. So I think I found that, you actually become not no emotions awakening, but you become more sensitive, and more loving, and you can grieve, but it doesn't cycle. It doesn't cycle on itself. But you're not above it like a detached witness.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. And I know before we started, I said, let's shoot for 15 to 20 minutes, but I haven't been really great. I'm fascinated, and I'm so grateful. Number one, that you took your time to be with us here. And also that you're going to be part of the End of Seeking conference that begins in just 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have over 25 speakers and musicians, and we're going to do some yoga, and we're just going to have it's going to be an amazing time. So thank you, Loch. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Just to say, come along, and I'll be there Saturday midday. You can look it up on the website, and that I will offer very experiential, because that's what I find. Once the map is given, we can kind of play with these different short ways to glimpse who we already are.
Fabulous. And anyone can register and attend live for free. There's a minimal charge for replays. Things like this you're going to want to listen to again and again. Thank you. Don't forget, my friends, to register to share this video with those you care about, and I'll let you get on.
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you
Cindy.
so much, Loch.
Bye, everyone. Take care. Hope to see you again. Bye.